Hello and welcome. I am Beth Brophy. I use they and she pronouns, and many of you know my voice and my face for the last 7 years as the voice of Ilka Gralhund with Twin Portals. And today we get to do a really fantastic episode. I am so excited. We're calling this, because I'm so clever, Femmes, Thems, and Searching for Gems. So with me today I have Bailey Fazzio.
Hello.
And Laura O'Brien.
Hello.
And our host, Scott Hebert.
Hi, what's up?
So we're going to chat about what brings us into this world and some of our backgrounds and origin stories, and then we'll ask some questions. I even took notes because of who I am as a person.
Yes.
Okay, so we're talking about tabletop gaming from a femme perspective, and that's a very broad umbrella. Each of us, of course, can only speak to our own identities, and we'll go around the table and talk about that next. But we kind of spitballed this, I don't know, a couple months ago, and the more we've talked about it, like in the community, the more we're getting people like, yes, more. So clearly there's interest and there's a lot of curiosity on this subject. So who'd like to do an introduction?
She's looking at me, so I'm going to go first. I'm Bailey Fazzio. I don't know, what do you want me to say about myself? People don't know me here yet.
That's true. I know you through,
yes.
What's your D&D association? What brings you into this world?
Matthias actually brought me into this world. Way back when I was doing theater at the Depot, he was my first DM, invited me and a couple other actor friends to join in a weekly game. And it's all uphill from there. Have been playing actively and listening and watching many, many podcasts, actual play. My husband and I both are very huge nerds when it comes to life in general. Yeah, I am just here to chat about something that I love very dearly.
Amazing. Laura, tell us all about yourself.
So I am Laura O'Brien. And my D&D origin story starts 20-some years ago. I started playing in the very early 2000s. My nerd origin story is way older. But I ended up joining a group with a friend who is femme because she was playing with her husband. And that was my gather into the fold. And that group was actually surprisingly fantastic, with a couple of exceptions, because there always are.
Yeah.
And from there, they're the ones that taught me how to DM. And from there, I went to so many other systems. So many. I've played everything from D&D to GURPS to White Wolf to Feng Shui to, I can't even think. There are a lot. So yeah, and as a mom, I brought my kids into it.
Perfect.
So they're adults now, and they're DMs.
Yes.
I love that.
Because there's never enough DMs to go around.
There are not.
Which is also part of what inspired this conversation. That can you talk a little bit about the group you just formed?
Yeah. I've had this idea bubbling in my brain for a while, and I think a lot of it just formed from our renewed friendship over the last few years. Is that, like you were saying, D&D was not typically a femme space. It was mostly pre-mask. But the more recently that we've been playing and the more that we've been talking about it, I realized how big and little our community is as femme D&D players. Yeah. I was like, I know a lot of lady D&D folks.
They're here.
They're
right?
here in Duluth, and we can play with them. So I had this idea of this escape room, wizard's tower type situation. It was just going to be a mini campaign, maybe like over a couple of months. But I reached out to friends that I'm either playing with in other campaigns or haven't played with, and connected you through Beth, and got a table of 5 femmes who are all playing together and bonding and creating a wonderful, crazy experience. Not my first time DMing, but first time like DMing a larger group of people, and especially people I haven't played before. So it's been a really exciting experience. for sure.
At the end of our first session, we had this lovely talk where we all sat down and went, this is the wildest experience ever. Because none of us had played at an all-femme table. I'd come close. I had one with a token man who was a husband. But let me tell you, it is still different.
Yeah.
So having a group where it's just all femmes, all people who are coming at it from the femme perspective has been amazing, even with just 2 sessions under our belt.
And the range of new to experienced players too. We have a couple of ladies at the table who are new within the last year, very, very brand new. We have people like you two who have played and performed professionally D&D for a while, and then a couple other people that I've brought in within the last couple of years, and myself who's like all over the place with D&D stuff. So having the patience of teaching while also just having fun and telling a story. And let me tell you, I've played at a lot of different little tables, mostly with the same crew of people. But watching the group of you interact with each other so quickly and just immediately click into, this is a safe space. I am free to be my character. I'm free to do silly things.
And we did.
And you did. And we spent an hour looking at a door.
Yeah. So that part doesn't change.
It doesn't change. It's the same across every table. A door will always be a puzzle.
The first door, though. I mean, it was the first
It was the first door. You have to experiment, but
it was the door to get in.
it was unlocked, untrapped. There was no other way in. Just open the door.
That.
Yeah, after an hour. It was good.
Beautiful. Okay, well, I have a loose outline. We're going to try to stick with it.
Great.
But that's okay. We can also just go in any direction we do, and I like that.
Beth, did you have an origin story you wanted to share?
Oh, yes. Your turn.
Do I have an origin story? I'm going to end up telling this backwards. You were talking about at our table playing that you have a blend of new and old. So in some respects, I am a very old player. But in the case that I have been playing Ilka Gralhund, and only Ilka Gralhund, for 7 years,
Right, yeah.
there is a bit of, how do I create something new? How do I create something who is not that bard that I've been playing and voicing for this entire time? And before all that, I was an improv performer, and I'm hilarious. So I think I can take from that as I build each new character, and I usually do.
She really is.
So all of that, my origin story as a teeny tiny nerd in small town Americana in Byron, Minnesota. So that's a town of, at the time it was about 3,500 people. We formed a chess club. We formed a German club. There was a D&D team, but none of these things existed prior to my high school time there.
Sounds right.
So you make them happen. My nerdery is, I majored on bassoon. That
I think that says most of what you need to say.
yeah, I did that. That was a choice I made. And like most of that is learning to whittle and breathe. But it does require this really nerdy, esoteric study into reeds and fingering charts and everything to do with it. But I apply that same obsessive nerdery to many interests in my life, and I always have. From high school, I didn't do much tabletop gaming for a long time. I did a lot of World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Didn't we all?
Yeah, those were the days.
Yeah.
And then my husband and I got into Exalted and built our own kind of homebrew with these resuscitated zombie creatures we called Brineborn, and we had a wild time with that. And then we played some with local folks in the community. We had a horrific time, not like horror, like bad, in Curse of Strahd with a dear friend of ours who plays the piano. And all of that somehow led to me being part of the Twin Portals podcast.
I love that.
That's it. That's my origin story. Okay, so I want to talk about today, what's going on, what is awesome about tabletop gaming in general, and for you specifically. What are you digging that's going on today?
So, having brought my kids into it, for me, what's awesome about tabletop gaming is the fact that I can create an inclusive space. I can create whatever space I need to create. I have a 17-year-old, she, they, Lily, and I have a 26-year-old, also she, they, Bryn. And they are both very, very queer. Very much so. There's no other way to put it. So being able to curate my groups, being able to curate the story that is safe for my children, that wasn't safe for me, is amazing. Just being able to say, no, I know this is going to be safe for my kids because I know who's at this table.
I just love how accessible it is now. I mean, it's everywhere. You can go into any coffee shop and find somebody looking at a D&D book, or you can find somebody creating a character. There's numerous, endless podcasts out there with a broad variety of characters that you can learn from and you can just enjoy.
Every high school in Duluth now has a D&D club, most of the middle schools.
I mean, I've talked about this with other people too, but a lot of us, we are teaching it to our kids, and it's a safe place. It's adventures. It's creating a character. And I mean, we even do it with our 4 and our 5-year-old. They have no idea the mechanics. They don't understand math, but they have shiny dice and they have pretty characters that look like Elsa and a fairy, and they can make ice, and they think that's great. That's how it starts. I mean, it's wild the change from even when I was in high school 15-ish years ago of you didn't talk about it. It wasn't a thing that you were invited to, especially growing up in a small conservative town.
Oh, satanic.
Yep.
How dare.
Yep. Don't talk about that. If you are playing that, we need to go to church a couple extra times. To going to college and just having people playing it and talking about it, and now having, world famous D&D who sell out stadiums for people to come watch them play D&D.
Right. That always blows my mind.
It's astounding to me.
And the accessibility has lent into so many other things. It's become a vehicle for therapy. It's become a vehicle for bringing kids together who don't mainstream well and keeping them in something that keeps them in school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's become so much more than just storytelling.
Yeah.
And that has been just amazing to watch with my youngest, because for us, it was a family fun thing. And then they started doing it at school with one of their teachers who is actually a counselor. So that was really awesome to watch happen, because they can talk about their trauma in the third person.
Sure.
And it gives them a whole nother way to think about it.
That's wild. That's really powerful.
What about you? I'm going to
keep
make you
shifting.
answer.
No, I appreciate it, but I'm going to
questions.
shift between a host and speaker. What am I doing?
You have to be both, Beth.
I do. Well, that's not so. I can do that.
I was going to say, it's...
What am I on? What's awesome? What's awesome in general? I just the blending of people, and I think during the pandemic, seeing Zoom groups of gamers, and that you can have an international campaign going.
Yep.
And within that, you can attract exactly what you're looking for. If you're like, we would like a non-binary group, and I would like everyone in the group to be non-binary, and that's what I'm looking for, is anyone interested. And you will get 50,000, I don't know if there's that many, but you will get enough applicants
a
to
large
fill
number.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think you're really exaggerating
No,
on
I
some
wouldn't
D&D
say.
forums.
No.
I think that number is probably actually pretty close.
That reminded me of a thing on Comic-Con, that they aren't polling for non-binary. They're just polling male-female. But I pulled the numbers right here.
Oh.
Right?
Statistics.
Right? We love statistics. The recent poll showed an approximately equal ratio of men and women at Comic-Con, at 48% women and 49% men. Like, the lady nerds are out there.
I love it.
And they're coming to places like Comic-Con. Dragon Con was similar at 49% each. So when a place is safe and controlled, the lady nerds are there. Like, we exist. We want to be part of everything, and we are self-regulating and choosing which groups we will and won't be part of based on what's it's not just safe, it's what's fun. If
And
it's
what's
like
comfortable.
Yeah. If It's like, this is just not fun for me. They don't want to be there.
For
Yeah.
example, I cannot stand Ravenloft. I cannot. I have some negative
That's true.
experiences
Yep.
with Ravenloft.
I understand.
So when a group says, hey, we're putting together this group and it's a bunch of people that I know and I like, and they say, we're going to do Ravenloft, I say, I'm out. Mm-hmm. And I can do that.
Yeah.
Because there are other opportunities. It's not like, well, you take what you got.
Right.
I guess
that
this
think
is
was
my
the,
only option.
the very
Yeah.
origins for me in D&D was this is the only game in town. And so you have to figure out some way to assimilate with these 6 dudes at a table in order to have any access to D&D.
Now, on the less good side, when I moved back from Michigan, I lived in Michigan for a few years, I didn't have a group here. And I went to a game shop, and they're like, we can plug you into our Wednesday night group. And I said, okay, I guess. They were doing Ravenloft. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's strike one. All right. Walk in the door, and it was, I want to say, 4 men or masked people and 1 teenage girl. And I was like, this is the least comfortable table I've ever been at. No. And I could just walk away because I knew I could find something else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I try really hard, and I might try too hard sometimes to like put that comfort level out there in the beginning. Like you both heard my blanket statement of my goal is to have fun. My goal is to create a good story. If there's ever a moment where we are reaching a point where you don't feel comfortable with, we're going to pause and we're going to step back, because there's no reason to push you through something that is uncomfortable, because this is a game. Mm-hmm. This is fun. And if we ever get to a point where, we're going on 4 or 5 years, we can have those bigger discussions as friends going, can we push it a little bit harder this time? Can we try something a little bit edgier? Can we do something like get into it that way?
And I think that comes as you get to know people. You know what their specific nopes are.
Yeah, and you avoid it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think you took it. I don't think it was too much.
You don't think so?
I think it
Okay.
was the exact right amount for someone who had never met you, had never met anyone else at the table except Beth.
Yeah.
And I went to that table going, I know Beth, so I know it's going to be good. It'll be fine. I know that if this was going to be an uncomfortable experience, Beth would not have invited me.
Yeah.
So I didn't know anyone at the table. So you throwing that right on the table first thing made me go, this is the best thing ever.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Good. That was the goal.
Yeah. It's huge, and it should be like everyone's doing this, of course, to the point that you think, oh, do I even need to do this? But for those who aren't getting that at every table, it is monumental.
Yeah.
Or for those of us who've been in it long enough that that wasn't even a thought.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like the DM did what the DM wanted to do. And if you wanted to play, you went with that story.
Yeah.
And for us in recording, stopping an episode is huge. It takes a lot. You have to reset. You have to, you run the risk that you have to reschedule. So I think there's also, I can get stuck in I'm not in a recording. I can go get a plate of cookies. I can go to the bathroom.
Go get snacks.
Yeah.
I can find myself a beverage.
Or
Yes.
more importantly, I can say, hey, that didn't feel cool. I'd like us to pause for a minute and regroup and then chat about it.
Yeah.
We haven't had to do that.
We haven't had to-
But the fact that it's an option makes everyone more comfortable.
Well, when you've got new players at the table, when you've got experienced players, it doesn't matter who you have. I just feel like it's something that's not talked about enough. And it's even something I brought up with my husband. He's a current DM for me at another table. And we started a new module a few months ago. And before we started, I was like, we really should have this conversation because we have some new players at our table. People don't know what to expect. And he did kind of, not as probably over blanketing as I did, but as a general of, we are going to approach themes of this, and there's a possibility your character might not make it past, session 20. If that is not the game you're comfortable with, we need to talk about that.
Yeah.
And that's enough. Even something like that lets you know what you're getting into.
Mm-hmm. Setting the expectations and then giving people the option to opt out or negotiate.
Yeah.
If they're like, I like 95% of what you're offering, is this 5% negotiable?
Yeah.
Or to be able to say, if that 5% is non-negotiable, can I deal with it? And can I have a minute to think about that?
Yeah.
Can I steel
Absolutely.
myself when we're coming into that?
A little preparation before. Like, is it going to happen session 1 or is it happening session 35?
Right.
Exactly.
Which segues us nicely into DMing. You actually have answered this a little
I
bit.
did it.
My first question is, how do you build a safe table?
Well, I think it's what we just talked about a lot is having open conversations, but also realizing that as the DM, you are not the storyteller, you're the narrator. So giving your players the freedom to just go and do what their characters want to do. And it goes back to improv, right? You don't want to say no. You want to say yes and you want to like let them lead the story. But even then, sometimes as a DM, you're like, okay, but
What
instead
if,
of yes
what
and,
if?
it's, okay, but the castle is the next part and I don't have anything planned other than that.
We are out in the scrublands. There's a castle. There's nothing in the
No,
scrublands.
there's nothing. There are
Go
no
to the
animals.
castle.
You can't talk to the squirrel. Just go to the castle. So I think it's just about having those open conversations and like giving people your phone number and saying, if you want to talk about this later, text me. Send me a chat on Discord. I always have my phone on at the table, and I think I talked to our table about this too, of send me a chat if you don't want to talk in person. If it's something that you want to take a moment and we just say, hey, we're going to take a quick 5-minute break. And I go take someone else out into the other room and just be like, hey, what was going on? It's just about being open and being flexible.
Yeah.
And I think in addition to that, it's also about having that dialogue with your players. Not just being open, but having players that you know will tell you if something's wrong.
Yeah.
Because there are so many nerds who are like, I'll just sit quietly and not talk. And knowing when it's time to pull them out of their shell and say, I know that you're not real comfortable putting yourself out there, but you need to.
But that's such an aspect of mask unfortunate culture right now is thou shalt not have feelings, thou shalt not show them. And young men are finding some safety in D&D groups of like, oh, I can have anything other than rigid stoicism.
So Lily is transgendered. Lily is assigned male at birth. So when they're getting into D&D groups, they're playing with their friends who all know everything about this. They are very not gender presenting at all. I mean, their goal is to not present for any gender.
Good.
Or all of them, pick.
Yeah.
So them being able to find that group was really cool. But for me, as a mom trying to create a safe table for my children, it's a whole different level. Because for my friends, yes, I want them all to feel safe and I want them all to feel comfortable and I want them all to have a great time. And for my kids, if they don't feel safe and wonderful, I'm going to be upset.
Yeah.
So part of that for me has been curating the group that I play with them. I have a very hard time bringing new people into a group where my children are, even though one's an adult and one's almost there.
Yeah.
So for me, it has to be someone I've played with first.
Yeah.
For a group that doesn't include my children, creating a safe table for me is mostly about, one, having that talk, having that, what are your nopes? What are your absolutely not? Tell me if something's going to go too far. But also just not being an edgelord DM.
Yeah.
My bad guys can be bad without doing things that are going to trigger my
Yes.
players.
That is a big one.
Yeah.
That's great to say. Yes.
Because I don't need to. I mean, he or she can be the biggest bad in the world, and they don't have to do things that are going to make my players have feelings about things that may or may not have happened to them. It can be a lot vaguer,
Yeah.
or it can be just, this is a big bad because he is a dictator and ruling the lives of the people.
Right.
Or this is a big bad because it's raising the dead.
Right. You can accomplish so much in general terms, you don't have to enact torture.
No, yeah.
And
Or assault.
right.
He's
And that
a evil king who found a magic stone and wants to put everyone under his spell.
right. Or even
Great.
like you can say this is genocide. Like this person has killed hundreds and thousands. That's
But I
different
don't-
from I am enacting this moment on the
yes.
characters and they need to experience it.
And I don't have to describe in detail what genocide entails.
Yes.
Yes.
I can say, yes, so they are trying to round up all half-elves and dispose of them.
Yep.
And everyone knows what that means.
Yeah, one sentence.
And nobody needs to have a graphic depiction
Yeah.
of what happened.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's been a thing I have pushed back at tables. Like this is unnecessary and you as the DM are getting something very different out of being able to speak these words than we, your players, are getting out of hearing them. And we all should unpack that. And those certainly weren't the words I used at the time. I was confrontational and it wasn't received well. But
But when it's something like that, honestly, with some people it needs to be confrontational for them to hear it.
yeah.
With some people it doesn't. I wasn't there. I can't judge. But I have walked up and left tables.
Look at you guys just segue. My next question was, have you had to remove anyone or remove yourself from a table?
So the table that I got up and walked away from was from that first group that I talked about that was mostly great except, the exception. And that exception took a chance to DM. And he felt the need to graphically describe an assault. And I felt the need to not be in that room anymore.
Yeah.
And I just got up and walked out and said, I'm done.
Yeah.
And he's like, but the game, blah, it's just a game. We've already discussed. It's so much more than a game. And also, I don't know about you, but when I play Monopoly, I don't have to talk about that.
Yeah.
When I play World of Warcraft, I don't have to talk about that.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have to talk about that here either.
Yeah. I have been very blessed to never have to walk away for a table for those sorts of reasons. I did end up excusing myself from a campaign, the very first one, because it was myself and 6 other guys, all my very dear friends, all people I cared about, all people that I loved seeing. And I'm not joking when I said we met every Sunday for over 2-3 years. And it went on past that campaign as well. And it was just known that we showed up with food. We showed up at this time. We played for 3 or 4 hours. And then that was every Sunday for a really long time. It was my very first campaign I'd ever been in. So I was still baby, did not really know. Like, it could have just been I made the wrong character for the campaign and I wasn't feeling good about it. If me now, I would have just gone to Matthias and said, I'm picking a new character.
Yeah.
This one doesn't fit with this table. I want to be somebody new. And that would have been just fine. But we were doing Rise of Tiamat. I was playing a red dragonborn paladin who had an unknown goddess. And the barbarian at our table went into a rage every time he thought about dragons. We did not have a session 0. We didn't have anything like that. So that, could have been discussed a little bit more. But it just turned into this, like, we couldn't role play because anytime I came into the scene, anytime I just existed. But Matthias and I got to this part where I still wanted to come to the game nights. Everybody's girlfriends were there too, and they would do it like a different game night in a different room. So it's just like, I'm going to go over there. That's a little bit more fun for me. But he still took my character and turned it into like one of the main baddies of the campaign. So I still got to have cool character moments, and he would still discuss things of like, what do you think she would do for this? And do you think that this is the direction? So still got to be involved. But that was the only time I ever had to like just say, this isn't what I wanted it to be.
I have excused a player from a table. It was in Michigan. We had a group that had come from the college there. Michigan Tech is an engineering school, so the nerds abound. There are so many. And somebody brought a friend and asked if he could play. And I said, absolutely, let's do this. I had kind of a side game. We had a main game that my ex DM'd, and then I had a side game going, and I said, yeah, add him to that. And the first session, he used more than one gay slur at a table where more than half the table was queer.
Yeah.
And after that session, and by after the session, I mean after about the first half hour when everyone decided they needed a break, I kind of took him aside and said, that's not okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to embarrass you, so I'm not going to do this in front of everyone. But if you do it again, I will. I will say something in front of everyone if this continues, because that is really not acceptable. And while maybe you don't know the sexual preferences of everyone at the table, you know that at least one person at this table is a gay man. And he behaved himself the rest of that session, came back for the next session, and was mostly well behaved. But a couple of things kind of snuck through that pushed. Mm-hmm. And I rolled my eyes and went, oh, here we go. By the third session, when he came back and started again, I called him on every little infraction. I was like, nope. And he started pushing back, and I said, okay, you don't get to come anymore.
Yeah.
And
That's fair.
there was a piece of me that went, no, it's D&D. Everyone should get to play. And I was like, yes, everyone.
Sure.
Yeah, everyone needs to feel safe.
Sure, because if someone is playing in a way that they feel good and 5 people feel unsafe, what are we doing here?
Mm-hmm. Especially since one of those people was my kid.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I probably would have been less forward with it. I probably wouldn't have actually been as aggressive about it if my oldest hadn't been at that table.
Yeah.
I would have let the group kind of help take care of it, but with my child at that table, I was not messing around.
Yeah.
It feels like there's a lot of overlap with improv in what I do, where you have the agency to opt out of a scene or try to steer it if it's feeling like we know the warning signs, and it can be really tricky at a table to say, you have not yet done the thing, but all my senses say we are going in that direction, and I can't kick you out yet, and you just have to wait until the thing happens. Mm-hmm. And that's a thing I'm less interested in doing anymore, that I certainly did in younger days, of that I know exactly where this is going and I can't call it yet. And someone is going to feel really icky by the end of this, and I can't quite, no one has done quite enough to call it yet.
But in my experience, I won't say every time, but in my experience, people who do that, they're testing.
Absolutely.
They know, and they're seeing how far they can go before someone does call them on it.
Yeah. And when you are the one femme at a table, it's that question of, will I have any support if I call this where it's at? And sometimes you don't want to know that answer. And I think that's where a lot of people are of, I'm playing with, in this situation, 4 of my close male friends and a new guy. And I don't know if I want to know that my 4 close friends won't actually have my back. And if I push back here, I have to find that out. And there's not much coming back from that.
And especially if you've known them a long time and you've built such a relationship with them, and you know that this is going to damage it if they don't support you.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know that you are never going to see them the same.
Yeah.
Or if it's your significant other, and you know you're never going to see them the same if they don't support you in this.
Yeah.
Because I have been at tables where I was with a significant other, either someone I started dating while I was there, or someone I had been dating and they brought me into the group. Mm-hmm. And then you start getting those things and you say something in private and they go, oh, it's not that bad. Mm. And you go, oh, what?
Mm-hmm. Or the most frequent one is, he's just socially awkward. He just doesn't get social mores. He doesn't mean it that way.
He's
doesn't
just
know
playing
how to-
his character.
Yeah. Oh. Yep.
Or he doesn't know how to talk to girls.
Yeah. You make him nervous.
It was almost worse when the significant other was a woman. Because I joined a Vampire the Masquerade group. And I don't know if you guys have ever played any White Wolf, but it brings the edgelords out. Man, does it ever. And I joined it with my then significant other. Like, she brought me to the group. And
Is this LARPing style?
No, this was tabletop sit down. But the group was 8 people.
That's huge.
And it was mixed. Mask, femme, in between. Like, it was very mixed. So I was like, well, this could be okay. We could keep the edgelords at bay. And then you see 2 women sitting next to each other. And you know they've kissed.
And your brain can't handle it.
Exactly.
Surely I can make the situation about me.
Surely if my character's just flirting with your girlfriend. Your girlfriend's character.
Right. Push, 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 push.
And it's like, okay, but my girlfriend said no.
Yeah.
Cute. Good times. Anyway, gosh, it's great. We've gotten past all that as a society, and tables are just universally safe now.
Yes. Or you can walk away from them.
Yeah. No. And I think it is important to talk about this for so many reasons. You know, when we were having plans for this episode over the years, I think it's obvious what women are dealing with in D&D. I think being a queer person in D&D, it's just, I feel like there's stuff we don't have to explain, and that is not the case at all. And so at, that table of my 4 dear friends, they just didn't see it. And so it is worth talking about it and sometimes giving the benefit of ignorance that until you're just marinating in it, you don't always see it.
And sometimes you'll be there with your dear guy friend, and he didn't see it until he watched it happen to you.
Yeah.
And you didn't even have to say anything, but he'll look at you and be like, oh, that wasn't cool. So it wasn't cool all the other times it's happened to other femme players. And you watch the light bulb go on and you're like, oh, growth.
Well, you can even see it in like the podcast and like live play communities, and never read the comment sections. Never,
No.
ever.
Oh, no.
But
Self-care.
You'll watch these amazing players and improvers go into a game with each other, and the mask people, they'll be like, oh, they did this funny thing and they took over this scene and they led their characters into something, and then the instant the femme character does it, it's she took over the scene and she's bossy and she shouldn't have done that, and that's not something that told the story well, and she's a little too
Power
crazy
play,
and
yep.
she's not supposed to do spells that way, and
She's looking for attention.
yeah. And it's just, you see that so much out there too, because I mean, we all know internet comment section,
It's a bad
place to live.
Yeah.
But
The shield of anonymity.
when you're at a table, you just really want to avoid that sort of situation. You don't want to have to be in that, and in the world that we are now, where there's just so many options of tables, and like you were saying, Zoom and Discord, there's so many Discord servers out there too, where it's literally like looking for players. And you can go into the chat rooms and say, hey, I'm a first-time DM wanting to lead a game. I'm open Wednesday nights. I'm looking for 4 people.
Yeah.
And you can just start something like that, and there's lots of great things out there for people who are looking for those sort of open resources and safe places.
You can also play by text.
What?
I have done forum play.
Yep.
I have done D&D forum play where you have a game and everybody is playing literally in a forum. It's by text. And the DM will put something out there and everyone will give their response. And then the DM puts the next chunk of story out there and everyone says what their player's doing. And combat gets a little clunky.
Sure.
But when it's straight role play, it can be fabulous.
That's fascinating.
And that makes it accessible. I have a number of students who do not feel comfortable speaking what's going on in their brain, but you get them an option to put it down in text, and it's novels. It's amazing.
Or brand new moms who don't have time to eat or breathe.
Right. So then you get to do it out of real time.
Yeah.
That it happens, it's 2 a.m. I'm feeding a child. I can text a little bit. I can still be in some way involved. Certainly I could not meet every Tuesday, 6 p.m.
No. Yeah.
But I can do this.
There are usually rules where you have to be active every 3 days or so. Like you have to put something on there once every 3 days.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to be a once a week player, then you need to look for a game that is a bunch of once a week players.
Yeah.
They can be some of the most fun games I've ever played because you get people who are just born writers and they get so descriptive and things that people are so embarrassed to say out loud. They're like, I don't want to be that person who's like,
I don't want
am.
to do the voice.
Yes.
That's so much pressure to do the voice. And
So this is a thing that we've been discovering in education, and particularly in music education. So when I'm not doing this, I'm a high school band director, and I teach musical theater on the side in my free time with 2 children. So after the pandemic, we are finding a vocal atrophy that's going on, because it's not just in singing. It is that people straight up were not speaking at around 40% less per day. And what that does to your vocal cords over about 2.5 years is that we've got students trying to sing from chunks of their vocal cords that they've never used or never worked as they come back together into choir. And we're also finding it in theater that what we would expect for vocal endurance on stage doesn't exist right now. They don't have breath support training that comes from 5 people sitting around talking, that comes from 2 people sitting around talking, that comes from speaking back and forth in class, just talking throughout your day. So we as a planet went through this massive reduction in the amount of words we were speaking each day.
I need a minute.
Yeah. I'll hold.
No, I'm good.
But the way that's manifesting is we've got people who are detached from their own voice. They are so uncomfortable speaking out loud. They don't know what to do with it. And that's an emotional uncomfortable, and it's physical discomfort in their vocal cords, in their tongue, and that we're getting like embouchure tiredness really early. And I have students at a grade level where I would expect that they can play for the duration of a 40-minute band period, and they can't. It's not there anymore. I know.
Lily was in 7th grade when they went distance learning. And socially, that is really the best time.
Yeah.
Let everyone grow for a year before they have to interact. But for puberty, and they sing bass.
Sure.
And I mean low. This kid sings 2 octaves below me.
Amazing.
And trying to reach that vocal potential, they've had a wonderful choir director at high school level that has really helped them reach it and helped them find that range. But it took them a long time to really be able to do it with volume.
Yeah. But I think we're then seeing that show up in something like tabletop gaming, where everything is done vocally and we don't have the endurance like we used to.
Mm-hmm.
So instead, they want to either play a video game where they can just text, they can just type, or play a video game that doesn't involve being social, especially for the neurospicy children.
Yeah, that's such a thing that we saw that in our elementary school when I was in Minneapolis at the top of the pandemic, that as we were getting students back, they struggled to see the kids around them as real because they had only known them through Google Classroom, where you make a comment with your little picture beside it. And that's the only place that person exists. And it got into a real weirdness of, if you are on a playground and you say something cruel and mean and hurtful to another person, you watch in real time body language of, oh, they feel really bad and that hurt them. And I don't like how I feel because I just did that. And that's how everyone was primarily getting that experience of, oh, I shouldn't say mean things to people for, centuries, I imagine. Instead, you get, I make a mean comment online, and suddenly I have 5 little friends telling me how clever I was. And I don't see a reaction from the other person. They might write words to me, but I don't see their face crumple. I don't see the body language. And so when we would get back together, we finally got all these kids back in the classroom, and they were unable to read each other. They would be in absolute meltdown over what shouldn't even be a misunderstanding, because there was 2 years where they did not read tone, and 2 very formative years So we did a lot of theater and improv and conversation play to try to rebuild some of that.
In real life, I'm a nurse. And during the pandemic, I worked with children with disabilities in group homes. And during lockdown especially, these kids they're in a group home, so they have 3 other children with them. And that's really it. That was the extent of their interaction with peers.
I feel like it's so hard. It's almost like technology, just how it changes so fast that, 15, 20 years ago, we wouldn't be sitting here talking like this openly about playing D&D that much. But I feel like with advances in technology, with more and more tabletop podcasts and actual plays out there, and more people just having clubs at the library, having clubs at school, like you were saying, middle school and high school, like everyone in Duluth, everybody's school has a club where they can learn this skill. The books are available at the library. It's just becoming something that's just much more open and acceptable. But I do have kind of the same fear of, as we move more and more digital, is that more limiting? Is it more accessible? Are you still going to play with the same 5 people you do, just instead of at your table around your dining room table, you're just all sitting in your living rooms playing separately? We have the one campaign that I've been playing the longest. We have a mixed table. 2 of our players are out in New Jersey, and the rest of us are here. And we have this whole little media setup of the camera and the microphone, and sometimes the technology works, sometimes it doesn't. It's so hard to role play, but we still try, and we try to really make it clear moments of, I'm talking to you now, and we're going to have this conversation across the camera. And then there's times when all of us are on the camera because our kids have the flu, and you guys can't come over to our house tonight. Yeah. Or we did not get home till 8:30. Don't come over to our house. It is a disaster. I just think that the accessibility is going to just continue to grow, and it's going to become more and more something that everybody does a little bit. And especially, we're talking about all the different modules and things that are out there. Like there's D&D, everyone's heard about that, but there's, I can't even list as many TTRPG. If you don't want to do the intense math and rule learning that goes into D&D, there's others. There's basic modules. They're like 1 pages where you just need a single dice and you just tell a story with your friends around a table.
I have one that's diceless.
I love that. I don't personally because I'm a dice goblin, but
I also am a dice goblin, which is why I played it very short time.
We've talked about our dice collections, but I just think that it's such a fascinating growth of a nerdy community that is finding safety and security with other people. And I don't know. That probably didn't answer your question at all, but that's just what I wanted to talk about.
There's also a tabletop RPG for anything you want.
Yeah.
Truly anything.
I have an Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yes.
I have the rule books. I haven't had a chance to play them yet. I would love to. Eventually, I'll get there. I have a book called Feng Shui. It is Hong Kong action cinema, and you make it as goofy and as outlandish as you can. Like a character with a tinkering skill where I made an explosive out of nitroglycerin from a first aid kit. Is this physically possible? No.
Who cares? That's amazing.
But I used a tin can and I blew things up. And I have the diceless one is from Roger Zelazny's Amber series.
Okay.
It's an old book. And it is problematic in some places, but the story is very good. And the whole point is you are telling a story from your narrative point, and Roger Zelazny embodies the unreliable narrator. So having that opportunity, and then Kickstarter brings in so many more.
Gosh. Yes.
I mean, I got my Avatar one from Kickstarter.
Yeah. I'm also a huge fan of one-shots.
Yes.
We don't have to commit to a 7, 10, 5-year campaign, whatever. Literally, this is my D&D nerdism coming out. I have a binder full of D&D characters ready to go. Level 1 characters that I've just sat there at work sometimes and I'm bored and go, interesting.
Would that work?
Could I be a Goliath wildfire druid? what kind of story would they have? What would they look like? And I go home that night and I write out maybe a sentence or two of who they are. I write the character sheet and it goes in the binder. My husband and I do a lot of one-shots with our friends. We do Christmas one-shots with his family, so it's become a tradition now. Like the week before Christmas, we do a little Christmas-themed adventure. It's just knowing that it doesn't have to be a large commitment. It can be silly, goofy things with your friends. And if you don't want to create a character, there are characters created out there for you.
Right. You
There's
don't have
so
to spend
many.
8 hours and a piece of your soul building this thing, but it is. So that,
Yeah.
And I think that also lowers the stakes a little bit, that when someone dies, they just die. It's not necessarily, but that was me.
Yes.
And then for me, I have a homebrew world that I've built over the last 20 some years that I've put together, and the maps are in my head because they got lost in a flood.
2012?
Actually, no, my mom's basement before that.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
But the maps are in my head and I could draw them back out, and I draw out chunks of them for a one shot. And I'm like, here's your little sandbox. Here's what's going on in this place at this time. Go. And I've had sometimes where it was, yep, that was a one shot. And sometimes it turns into, no, we want to know more. We want to know more.
Yes.
Yeah.
So having just the world and being like, well, I kind of know what's everywhere. Let's go, is really nice for that kind of thing.
I mean, we've done that through the development of Twin Portals when we started with the 5 of us and a single Yeti microphone. And all of us learned so much about acoustics and speaking. And then over the years, we went into the pandemic and tried it over Zoom, and it was terrible. It crashed and burned. Trying to find when to speak. So I have a really isolated view of D&D as a production of a podcast, and why it didn't work so well on Zoom. That I think works perfectly fine when it's just people playing. But
when you don't have to worry about, well, what microphone do you have? And is it going to sound funny?
right.
And
What
the
we ran
lag.
into, the lag a little bit, and then at the table, if you're ready to speak, you're going to give me a cue. I'm going to see your eyes, I'm going to see a breath, and you have nothing. So we would have dead silence and then 2 people trying to speak at the same time. Or dead silence and then 3 people in a panic going, it's been silent for too long, I have to say something. So they would spit out something that didn't actually help the situation.
as things get more inclusive, it's easier to predict what a table's going to look like by knowing the people at it. Because it's easier to have the language to talk to your friends about, you know, the way you said that wasn't cool.
Yeah.
I watch Lily do that with their friends, and I'm like, if I had said that to my friends in high school, I would have been ostracized.
I think we're also seeing this beautiful thing in this next generation, and it is the ability to take a note, the ability to hear my behavior was not okay, and that is not who I am as a human being. That my friends are pointing this out because they love me and want to continue to spend time with me, not because they hate me. And I think American society in general is really bad at guilt without taking it immediately into shame. We just have very limited training in that.
Yeah.
So seeing this next generation ace that is amazing to me.
And from what you were saying earlier about kids not having had the in-person experience, now I have to say the thing.
Yeah.
I can't just give them the crumpled face and let them know they hurt me.
Yeah.
I have to say the words, you hurt my feelings when you did this. And it has both hindered their communication horribly, but it has also given them a lot more verbal communication skills than I ever had as a teenager.
Right. Because the secondary step of that is, and I want to be your friend. And if this is part of how you communicate with me, I can't be. And I don't think you're doing this to hurt me, but I can't be your friend if this is how you interact with me.
Yeah.
Amazing and huge. The kids are okay.
They
The stuff
are.
I see from high schoolers today, like, they're okay. They're doing good
There's
things.
hope.
So much hope. Neat. The next one I called the name dropping section. And I'm just going to read what I wrote. Who inspires you? Who are the femme voices on podcasts, the queer performers, the non-binary artists that are contributing to nerd culture right now or over the years? Who influences you personally, and who's influencing the larger culture right now?
For me personally, Beth Brophy.
Amen.
So I don't
I'm
watch
a celebrity.
You are. I don't watch a lot of live play. I don't listen to a lot of podcasts. My ADHD says, no, you want to play.
Yeah.
Sure.
We're going to play. But when I do get snippets of it. And almost always the femme players are either A, very, very, very femme and giggling about it and trying to appeal to the male audience, which if that's what they're going for, great.
If that's how you get into the table, if that's how you stay safe, I think my experience is it's less of this is who they want to play and this is the compromise they've made to get in.
That's a
which
better way to
sucks.
put it. Yes.
But
watching you, especially at the live shows, Beth does not show up with the cleavage shirt and the, like, I'm going to be the most feminine voice at the table. Beth shows up with
A character.
Ilka's going to kick ass
Yeah.
and also play a concertina.
most of that is my own reflection. I am a non-binary person, and most of my characters, I'm not trying to play them non-binary. It's just who I am.
No, but it comes forward as I don't have to be anyone but me at this table.
I mean, you kind of stole my answer for personal people because, like I said, I don't know a whole lot of other femme D&D players personally. Like, I have a lot of friends. Quite a few of them I have brought into D&D because I was tired of being the only lady at the table.
The token femme.
Which, you know, that's kind of been my whole life. I've always been that person, and I'm totally fine with that. But there was a point where I was just reading the D&D book at work one day at lunch, and one of my friends popped over and said, "What are you reading?" So I started talking to her about it, and this was when I was starting to create my own campaign. And now she is a player at my table, and she plays with us in our campaign. She's played with me in a 2-year campaign.
Join us.
Yes, join us. In the larger sense of the world, I really enjoy watching players who take ownership and who don't back down from being the girl. They play strong, powerful women or female presenting or non-binary. First one that comes to my mind is Abria Eingar. She is amazing. I've watched a lot of her DM roles that she's done. She's currently on Critical Role Campaign 4 as one of the main player characters as well. She's major rule of cool DM, so we'll let her players pretty much do anything if the dice roll allows it. I don't care if that's how the spell works. That sounds awesome. Perfect. We're going to make it work. Roll an Arcana check to make sure you know how to do that. Erika Ishii is another one. I really enjoy watching playing at tables. They are just, again, a little gremlin who does the things that says inside their brain, you do want to go do that. Mm-hmm. That is the thing you do, and you don't say no. You just go do. I mean, I have such a long list of things that I listen to and watch on the daily because I sit looking at spreadsheets all day. So there's just so many out there to create a small list, which is what I think I'm trying to say more about. Because I could list probably about 10, 15, 20 other women players that I watch or listen to regularly that just are doing a thing that they love and are good at it. And that's so fun. And I've learned that I could sit and read a book, the D&D manual, and learn all the rules and the spells. And I've done that enough to like create my own characters and to know how to play a certain thing. But listening to other people do it and talk about it and play it openly hour after hour of just listening and watching people play, it's like soaked into my brain because now I can go back into the little file folder in my back of my brain that goes, oh yeah, that one person did that spell one time and now I remember how to do that forever.
Yeah.
And like you were saying about, you're used to being the token femme at the table. As also a non-binary person, she, they pronouns, it's very it's cool to see other femme players who either own their femininity. They're just going to sit down and they're going to be that girl.
Yeah.
And if that's what they want,
Yeah.
Yeah.
great. If that's what they feel like they have to do to stay, that's not what I want to watch.
Yeah. No, I see so much of people being like, no, I'm actually the strongest woman in my tribe, and that's why I'm out here, because I have to protect my people. Not, I'm out here to find a husband, and I was saved by a prince, and I'm running away from the castle because my father wants me to marry somebody.
Damn the patriarchy.
Which is also great character to play if that's what you want to play and you feel comfortable doing that and that's who you want to be. But if you come into it being like, well, I'm the girl, so that's what I have to play.
Yeah.
One of my favorite characters that Bryn ever had, my oldest, she plays the governess to a princess.
Yes.
And she is an ogress. And she is very proper.
I love.
She has her tea set always at the ready. She reminds the princess regularly that is not princess-like behavior.
I'm getting
And then
Juliet's
she-
nurse.
Yes.
And
that's
then she
exactly where I
crushes
went.
skulls.
Yes. She's got an axe on her back, but she makes a good tea.
Exactly.
I love playing off-kilter people. That's my favorite thing to play.
I think for me, my favorite thing to play is the inquisitive one. I always want to know
What?
why. In our game, I do play a nerd
Surprise.
who will go off and nerd out at things.
And it's lovely. It's such a great thing to have an actual intellectual player who isn't just like, well, I'm a smart character, so I would like to go research this thing. To have someone come in and be like, well, how does this work?
Right.
But
It's,
how does
it's like
this-
the engineering
Yeah.
aspect so much more than just base intellectualism.
There's a little puppet theater. I want to look at the bottom and find out.
I
where
want to
the
know how
gears
this
are.
works.
What's the mechanism?
Magic.
It is magic.
It is magic.
Then I want to know how the magic works.
Yeah.
Perfect. You had said off-kilter characters. I don't think I know how to play a kilter character.
Fair.
I don't think I could.
I have two different characters that I play the most right now. I have a 8-year-old goblin paladin. She became a paladin by stealing a holy symbol off of a sleeping person and now has people who, a god who is talking to her, and she doesn't know what she's doing and she just wants to go slay dragons. She's 8 years old. She's a kleptomaniac.
Amazing.
And she's a paladin.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want to be, but she is. So she has magic powers. So she is my, like, I see something shiny, I'm going to go do that. At one point in the campaign, she got spider climb boots. And instead of, like, using them, you know, in a combat sense, decided that they were going to hop from tree to tree, yowling like Tarzan.
Yes.
In a place where they were supposed to be sneaky, but she's 8. So what does she know?
Yeah.
So I have that side of the spectrum, and I enjoyed playing her so much. But I also have this other character that I'm playing in a current campaign who is stoic. She does not want to be the leader, but ends up being the leader anyway because she is the straight-laced character. She has her goals in mind, but is very much like, I will go do my thing if you guys can't do that right now. If you have other things, like, she doesn't want to be the leader because she's been the leader her whole life, but kind of has been pushed into that role. And it's so great for my brain to play those two different sides of my brain.
Yeah.
Because I am both those people. And you can see it in my children if you ever meet my children.
I have met your children.
You have met my children and
I
you
have taught
know.
your children.
So I do have the little goblin in me that likes to come out and steal shiny things and find pretty things and put them together. I don't think I landed a single blow in that campaign. She's supposed to be the main melee character with a big sword. I think the only time I ever landed a blow was in the very last battle, was the killing blow to like the main big guy. And it was so validating for her to be like, I don't like being a hero anymore. This is scary. This is bad. I stop now. And she kind of just walks away from everything and just like, I'm going to go be a goblin somewhere else. So I don't know. I love playing just parts of your own personality, just bigger.
Which I think is the point.
Yeah.
Like, the absolute point of all of this is an imaginary exploration place of some part of your id or ego that you want to trot out and get to know a little better.
Well, you talk about it all the time in theater. I was a theater major, did a lot of stuff around here, did improv for a little while. Every character is a bit of yourself.
It can't not be.
You can't be that emotional and that big on stage without having some sense of self connected to it. Even the craziest person on your plane ever, or the most serious, or the most villainous, or the most anything, there has to be some part of you that comes into it. And even if you're never trained in acting, never trained in improv, you've never done any of that, and this is your first time at the table, you still create a character with a, well, I'd like to explore this part.
And as a DM, that's honest, and as a player, that's one of the things that makes it so much more icky when a DM is like, I'm going to graphically explain to you all the bad things.
Yeah.
And it's like,
This is happening to part of me on some level.
and this is coming out of part of you.
Yes.
And, well, it's just an exercise in thought. Yeah, but it's your thought.
But you had the thought.
But my first character, when I joined that group, I was 19. I was a young adult, and I was definitely new to almost every male in that group. I, totally on accident, decided I was going to play an ASMR paladin with a real big warhammer.
Perfect.
Who stepped into my first session by stepping over one of the players that was down and smashing the bad guy in the face. And so when someone decided they were going to rescue me, I was like, from what?
I don't need that.
And then we had a second game going, and my second character was a halfling rogue whose catchphrase, and yes, this is before Phineas and Ferb ever came out, was, "What you doing?" We had a player who liked to try to hide things.
And you watched that.
And she watched, and she went, "What you do?" And he's like, "Oh, she wouldn't know." Really? She's not that curious. So having both of those at the same time in a group of people that I didn't know well was really freeing.
Yeah.
Because I could be the big tough girl who does not need you rescuing her. And that set the tone for what was going on. And also, I'm going to be nosy, and if you're going to be that player, I am too.
Find it out. Yeah. Well, that's why I think I chose my goblin, because I am a mom of 3 kids, all under the age of 8, and I have to be serious quite a lot of times because children don't listen, and that's fine. They're babies. They don't understand why they can't touch that thing or hit their sister or, everything.
So many deep breaths.
So going to the table and just going, she's going to jump from tree to tree, screaming at the top of her lungs, because that sounds like fun right now. And she's very tiny, so you're going to a carnival, she's going to play every single game.
Yeah.
And you are going to describe them to me in full detail because she wants the prizes.
I feel like I do this in improv as well as D&D, as I come in and look at the characters that are there, and my brain says, well, what's missing? But my definition of what's missing usually is not anybody else's. It's like, that? You thought we needed that? Yes.
Yes.
So,
I don't know. I think we did need that.
exactly. What I came up with for our recent one-shots was a kenku based on the splendid little
loved
cockapoo
them.
parrot from New Zealand, who evolutionarily should not exist for a lot of reasons. But that's where I started that, and I can usually get some scrap of inspiration and run it directly off a cliff.
Which I have to give you props for that, because I was at the live show for that one and watching you with your notebook full of phrases that you were going to repeat at some point. And I was there with one of my friends and she was like, is she writing down everything everybody says? And I explained
The good stuff, yeah.
I explained the Kenku curse and everything there. And she was like, I could not, my brain could never. I was like, well, that's because this is Beth's brain. This is how Beth's brain works.
It really is.
Yeah.
But someone could say something and just hand me a gift in their wording that didn't sound that way in their tone, and then I can turn it with my tone and get the eyebrow from the DM.
Yeah.
And I win.
Yeah. You do win.
We did ExcaliburCon this summer, and I got to be a panel moderator for a couple really fabulous people, Winona Nelson and Anthony Palumbo, who are Magic the Gathering artists.
Okay.
And I wrote down some of the words from Winona, because I was just aghast the entire time that I got to interview these two, because I've always loved Winona's art in particular, and then she was just there with their art in front of them. So Winona wrote, "I never saw people who looked like me presented heroically." Winona talked about their Native American background from Duluth and being a Ojibwe, that they had always seen people who looked like me presented tragic, the like dying Indian on a horse. And so as a gender nonconforming person, she wrote, "I identify as two-spirit, having both a masculine and feminine spirit. I identify with a huge, broad spectrum of people, and I want everyone to feel included." And she said this thing, and I just about fell over trying to write it down. I love, it's so good.
I'm ready.
I love painting people who look like they feel attractive, who look powerful, heroic, and happy. That it is, and every portrait she has, like, she has the most beautiful, broadest range of body types and styles and skin tone and height and anything you can think of, and they are all joyously attractive, and they feel that way to themselves just looking at it. So I'm just salivating over their art. And then I'm trying to get my brain back into asking questions as a moderator. I feel like art has also made a shift as we come into the 2020s of our time, that art can just be what the artist wants it to be and what brings the artist so much joy, as opposed to I must present these hypermask, hyperfemme ideals that I don't even think young D&D players wanted, but they felt like they were supposed to want them.
And I need to dress them either very scantily,
right,
or very masculinely, because that's what I think is wanted. Not because that's what I want. If you want to draw someone who thinks that they look hot,
yeah,
by all means, scantily, go for it.
Yeah.
I am not opposed. But do it because it's what you want to draw?
and what you can argue that character wants to wear for themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They want to present this, not I think this is going to sell.
Yeah.
I had a teacher back in school, and it's the thing that's always stuck with me, because I was in a lot of dance classes, and I hadn't danced a whole lot, but I was like, I need to do this for my major. I need to learn more. And I grew a lot taking those classes. But we were doing some sort of jazz final, and it was like some kind of Chicago-esque Bob Fosse thing where, you look at those videos and you go, man, all those people are so incredibly attractive and they control their bodies in such a great way. And I just couldn't figure out how to get my body to do that. And I wasn't convinced that it was happening. And she took me aside and was like, sexy is not believing you are sexy. Sexy is confidence. Do you have confidence in yourself? Do you think that you're doing a good job? And the instant I changed my thinking into it's not a social aspect of you have to have these curves and these whatever. It's, does this person feel good? Do they like who they are? Are they confident in their body? Do they wear the clothes that they like to wear that feel good on them? And when you bring that into your characters, it's so different, because it's the whole old video game, like old video games where you play a female or a male knight, and the female gets the chest cup and the little skirt with a sword, and the male character is full plate armor, big shield, the largest hammer you can imagine.
Why doesn't he get a loincloth?
Chainmail bikini.
Chainmail bikini, which, again, if that's what you want your character to be dressed as because you want to do that and you want to live live that
Amazonian life.
You want to live that life and you want to be that character, by all means.
I had a character
for
who
it.
was a sword dancer.
Great.
And her outfit was scanty.
Yeah.
Because she could move in it.
Yeah.
And because she looked hot.
Yeah.
But because she could move in it, that whole character was based on dexterity.
Yeah.
And so I could say, like, this isn't just a style thing. This is she needs to actually be able to dance through everything without, clanking.
Yeah.
The other name-dropping one that occurred to me, Ellen McLean. She's the voice of GLaDOS in the Portal game.
Yes. Okay.
And she came to 2DCon in the cities. And that woman is hilarious. She looks like your grandmother. She seriously, short hair, very older middle-aged white woman. But you start talking to her, and I didn't stand in line to meet her. She was wandering around talking to people. She is absolutely the biggest nerd. She signed the Portal board game that they had for the convention. She got up on stage and sang the end song for Portal.
Still alive.
Still alive. Yes.
Oh,
Just
gosh.
frickin' fantastic, living her absolute best life.
As she should.
There's a version of it in a minor key that just brings me endless joy.
I've heard it and I love it.
Is there anything we haven't touched on that you would like to talk about today?
I'm very curious at what board games and things do you play or did you play growing up that led you to get interested in D&D or that helped you with like the skills that come with D&D? Because, D&D, there's a lot of math, there's a lot of improv, there's a lot of table talk, and there is a lot of like mechanics that you don't need to know to play D&D. It helps, but if you got a good DM to help you along the way, you can. Because I was thinking about this on the drive over of if I had D&D accessible when I was younger, what skills would I have been able to bring to the table? Because my family was not, like, we watched a lot of movies. We were big nerds in that way. We were a nerdy movie family, especially my dad. We played card games, which includes a lot of brain math. We played a lot of games like, we were very basic board game people. We were Life. We were Monopoly, which always ended in tears. We were Sequence. It's those very stereotypical Midwestern family board games. Like everybody has those in their closet. So I was just wondering, what things did you either do growing up or in school or whatever that kind of helped you get into this world?
So for me, my family is very outdoorsy. I grew up on a dead-end street that led into the woods, and that was our playground. And we built forts, and it was the 80s, I need to preface this. We went up into the woods, and we built a campsite, and we had fires in our fire ring, and me and my little brother would bring hot dogs up there and roast our own hot dogs. And we made a canopy, and we had a lot of outdoorish skills. Do I play a lot of Rangers and Druids? Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you for saying that, because I grew up on a farm. I had no kids in my neighborhood. I did not grow up around anybody. It was just me and my older sibling. And when we would watch, Lord of the Rings is the one that pops into my head, because like Fellowship of the Ring came out in my middle school days. You watch Legolas shooting a bow and arrow and jumping off of a horse and whatever. You better believe I went into our grove in the backyard or through the cornfield, and I was out there imagining things. And now I'm a theater person. Imagine that. But like, it's that imaginative play.
It really is. And we were swinging from trees and doing things that if my mom had seen them, she would have died. But because she couldn't see, and she literally told us, don't tell me. Just don't tell me. Even in later years, she's like, I don't want to know. I still don't want to know. But we had very little in the way of parental regulation.
Yeah.
Because it was the 80s. And we were just all imaginative play out in the woods, doing things. And then added to that, we were also forced to entertain ourselves. I have 3 siblings. So there were 4 of us. I am the third of 4. And the older siblings did not want to entertain the younger siblings. Shocking, I know. So me and my little brother, we were basically feral. And we just went off and did our own thing. That's where we went off into the swamp. And
We had
got
swamp
lost.
adventures, yes.
So we grew up out in Gary in Duluth. So going up the hill, you just had to come back down the hill.
Yeah.
Getting lost was difficult.
Sure.
Out at the cabin, it was past Island Lake. It was all flat and it was
Yeah.
swamp.
Yes.
That's where we learned how to deal with getting lost.
And you can get tragically lost out there.
Yeah.
You really can. We learned how to follow our own trail back.
Yeah.
And like tracking. I mean, we weren't exactly very good at leaving no trace. There were footprints, but we learned how to track our way back. We had an old bow and arrow. Like there were 3 arrows and a bow that was literally just like a laminate.
Yeah. I had
And-
that too.
Yep.
And we set up cans and we were shooting them. And
Yeah.
I think it was the imagination that really did it for us, though.
So much of that. I was the middle of 3, and we were born in 3.5 years. So we were very close and then at each other's throats, as you are when you're that young, but
Yeah.
or that close. The imagination play we got into, everyone grows up thinking that they are approximately normal, right?
Yeah.
That more or less other kids are having more or less the same experience as you. And then you get into groups of people and you start sharing and you're like, you weren't out there playing War March. That's the game that we decided to play. So we play War March. I don't know who came up with it or why, but we got really, really good at it out in the cornfields of small Americana.
Yeah.
But you were talking about games we played. I was thinking back that there was a theme of guessing games. That Taboo,
Guess who?
Guess Who, charades, and Pictionary, things where you're using an imagination space to plant an idea in someone else's head. And we got really, really good at them. And to this day, I use all of that in improv. One of my favorite games is anything where I am a guesser, and I'm really, really good at it, unless the audience is boring.
Yeah.
And we found this, that occasionally the audience will throw out a really bland milquetoast answer, and our host, bless them, will take it, knowing I'm the guesser. And so I'll come back in, and I am in left field. That it can't
It's
be
gotta be
that
this
simple.
crazy
right,
thing.
Right, and it's like, it's a toaster. It doesn't do tricks. It's just a toast. Okay.
Okay.
Yep. So we did guessing games.
Yeah.
And I still do a lot of guessing games, and I think that is a huge part of how I play D&D is I'm trying to get into the heads of the people around me and see where they're trying to nudge a scene to go. We, for some reason, I don't know how it happened, we received a copy of a Star Wars Monopoly game. But it was the Phantom Menace. You see.
Oh, no.
That's why you received the copy.
It really is.
We played it so much. It is difficult to describe how much we played it, and we would create themes and variations. For example, you would be playing Star Wars Monopoly opera, so everyone had to sing.
Oh, yeah.
And any variation you can think of. We did Tarzan Star Wars Monopoly. It went places, but that's the things we did. So we had a framework. In this case, it was a brightly colored Star Wars map with little pod racers as your tokens, and then these elaborate buildings instead of the hotels that snapped into the side of it. It was so cool and so terrible. I didn't see Phantom Menace in theaters. We tried to, and the afternoon we were going to go, my grandpa had the nerve to die, so instead we drove back to Pennsylvania, which is like going to Star Wars.
Bummer.
I know.
Yeah.
So anyway, if you blend those things together,
Well, I find it so interesting to see where these little nerds come from.
yeah,
Because I'm watching my kids become nerds right now.
Yeah.
In different ways. I was talking with Scott earlier about how my oldest is just starting to kind of bridge the video game era of playing a little bit of Minecraft and figuring out how that works. And we've been playing Link together quite a bit to see where that comes. And now I'm seeing that come out in his imaginative play at home of he's going to go make a sword and a shield out of cardboard. And you better believe he's going to go fight whatever dragons or monsters he comes up with. And are his sisters usually the monsters? Yes.
Of course.
Because they don't want to play that game. They want to play babies and mommies, and that's what they enjoy playing. But watching myself as a parent build these nerds is such a joy for me because my parents also made nerds, but I don't think they did it intentionally.
Yeah.
Because we were huge readers. We went to the library every week, and you better believe I read books upon books upon books. We had computer games, but they were like things you could rent from the library, like Nancy Drew and things like that. We played board games, and we actively, like, they had a card club that met 2 times a month where they had friends come over and play games together.
Cute.
Which ingrained in my brain, I should also do that as a grown-up. And that's what we try to do. It's not card games, but it's board games.
Yeah.
And it's just changing the tone. And our kids know when we have a D&D night coming over. And so that's when they go, well, when's our weekly D&D session, Mom and Dad? And we've just gotten into the habit of every once in a while we set up the little board and get out the little minis, and they let to pick out whatever they want, and we do a little story time. And it's like the rabbit can't find its carrots. Who stole it? And Matthew's going to say, a dragon. Because it's Dungeons and Dragons. So you need a dragon in the story.
Beth, thank you for validating my experience of board games are never played with the rules they came with. That was my childhood as well, especially if you take Monopoly and Mousetrap
Yes.
and combine them.
If the pieces weren't meant to go together, why don't they fit that well?
Exactly.
I did not know that Mousetrap was an actual game with rules until last year. I kid you not, because we always just set it up
Yeah.
and played the trap part, and
It's just
that was how it did.
It's a Rube Goldberg.
My husband told me that there was an actual game involved with it last year, and I had to look it up on Google because I did not believe him.
We would lose the pieces, so we would improv our own pieces and be like, well, the basket's gone. I'm going to find something else. I wove something with grass. I
Amazing.
used a cup. My little brother decided that the mouse needs to be the dog from Monopoly. And then going through, coming up with this elaborate story of why the pieces are different and just what we did. But on the rounds of build your own nerds,
Yes.
aside from D&D with my children, watching them entertain themselves,
Yeah.
just the imagination that comes out of those kids was phenomenal to watch. Bryn was very into drawing for several years, and she loved designing outfits. So she would design outfits for all of her D&D characters.
I love
She learned to... She would start making them, like first out of paper and then out of little scraps of fabric. Well, then, because she can't sit without something in her hands, she started crocheting me little fairies. I have a collection of little amigurumi fairies
Oh, my heart.
that she made me. And one of them has a flaming chariot
Yes.
because she made our friend Matt a little
love-
Death, and Death had a little flaming chariot. But my fairy wouldn't stay upright, so we put the fairy in the chariot. And so she attached a little butterfly charm to Death and said it was a trade, and made this elaborate story about how Death traded his chariot to a fairy for this necklace that helps him do his job and blah, blah, blah.
Step aside, Terry Pratchett.
Right? So watching the imagination and not telling your kids that they're weird for having an
Yes.
imagination. Not telling them, you came up with what?
Yeah.
That's strange. It might be strange, but it's cool.
Well, I'm going to rope this into D&D talk real quick.
Oh, do it.
Okay, so we talk openly about D&D all the time in our house. It's not a taboo. We have the books. The kids love reading the monster manual, okay? So every once in a while, my middle, who is me, exactly to a T.
She is.
Beth can attest to this. Emotionally, physically, she is me. Every once in a while at the dinner table, she'll go, Mom, let's make a monster. And I go, all right, let's do it. And Jacob gets out his little notebook where he keeps all of his, random D&D ideas that he will use at some point for some campaign. And my kids will come up with a monster all together. And it's usually me prompting. It's basically doing writing prompts of, Well, how many heads does this thing have? Cool. Do each head do the exact same thing, or do they all do different things? Do they all have teeth? Do they all have mouths? And we go through like this imaginative thing, but I have to share this monster because someone come up with the stats for this, please, because it's amazing. All right.
All right.
It's a snowman. It's a 10-foot tall snowman. Each of the 3 rounds is a head. The top head has teeth and can chomp. The bottom head doesn't do anything. It just sits there and stares at you and makes you scared. The middle head has a large hole that turns into a portal and werewolves pop out of it. This is something my children came up with at the dinner table because they were just talking about it and bouncing ideas off of each other. And it's the most terrifying thing in the entire world.
This is horrific.
It's terrifying. And that's just one of them. Like Lucy, who's my middle, she came up with this idea of a 3-headed giant who uses flowers to poison people, but can only do it if one head is awake and the other 2 head are sleeping because each head wants to do something different. And like, you're 5 years old.
That's amazing.
That's how it starts. And then your 17-year-old is the DM for 2 of their D&D club groups. The third one they're a player in. But they are building their own monsters and making up stats for them and going, Mom, do you think this will work? And I'm going, yes, but what? And they come down to the living room at midnight and you go, why are you awake? It is a school night. Well, Mom, a monster came into my head.
Yeah,
yes,
I get that.
Yes, they did. So just wait. They'll start coming up with the stats.
I'm fine with that. But right now, we just have these ideas written in a notebook because kids are just amazing.
They are.
And I love my kids.
I think that gives them power over the monsters, though, in the way that, like, oh, there's a monster in my closet.
Yes.
There's a monster down the hallway.
Yes.
Now you in your imagination can make the monster silly or playful, or in some way you have absolute control over what's happening in your brain. And you're giving your kids so much power in their own brain and their safety.
And that D&D as a whole gives them so much more power and gives anyone so much more power over their situation. So when they are creating their monsters and they have control of the monsters, now I'm the DM and I have control over what the monster does.
Yeah.
I have control over who the monster attacks. And I came up with the monster's weakness.
Yeah.
If my players can figure out the monster's weakness, they can kill this monster. And then this monster isn't scary anymore.
Yeah.
I'm trying to draw your snowman over here.
I'm excited to see it and to hear your thoughts on this.
We got teeth up top, a hole with a
Portal.
portal.
Yep.
And then nothing at the bottom, but it stares at you.
Oh,
That one?
Yeah. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm doing my best.
The werewolf portal is actually, I could totally see werewolves coming out of that.
Definitely.
Tiny werewolves that then grow.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Where were we?
I mean,
This is a thing my brain does. My Twin Portals notebooks over the years are just filled with doodles. Sometimes what's happening, sometimes just what's in my brain.
And this is, Bryn's notebooks were covered in pretty dresses.
Yes.
And now she designs her own.
I am the worst note taker. I can remember things if we play closely enough to each other where I can say, yeah, we had that conversation and we had this conversation. We talked to this person. Awful with names. But my notebooks are a lot of, we fought this. Uh-oh. It's like being a director and writing notes for a theater production. Where
what did I mean by that?
What does uh-oh mean? Probably something bad.
Did you ever take notes in classes as a kid?
Yes, I was a great note taker.
See, I never learned how to take notes. Never learned how. I still can't. I went through nursing school not taking notes.
Like, that's impressive.
That's actually impressive, yes.
I'm very grateful for my memory because I'm either writing things or I'm listening to you. Pick one.
That's fair, yeah.
You don't get both.
Well,
Yeah, I think we should probably close our adventure together. This was lovely.
This was.
Thank you
thank
for
you
agreeing
for
to come
inviting me. This was amazing.
and share your brains and experiences with the world.
All right, host, you wrap it up.
Yeah.
I'm not the host. I'm the producer.
Producer, do I need to say anything as official or special?
No. Did you have fun?
I had so much fun. No, this was wonderful. I I just want to thank you for your vulnerability and sharing powerful personal stories. I think there's huge interest in hearing this, and I think it's really important that we're talking about it.
Well, thanks for giving me a place that I can be heard.
Yes, thank you for the platform.
All right. Go team.